Okay, we're ready. Are you ready, Josh?
I'm ready.
So we're at the beginning of a jam here. We do this every week where we challenge ourselves to make a music video in a very short period of time. In half an hour, we want to crank out a 30-second music video. 19 shots long. So there's basically 19 media assets that we're going to stack together to tell a story. And it's collaborative. So we're going to do this together and kind of try to beat the clock.
Right now, I think we can kind of decide like what do we want the basic flow of this music video to be.
So we're in the Warhammer universe. There's a character that's there, living in her quiet forest space, and something happens.
Like
I would
enough that I
add
can
the
be
word
waking up in the
harsh
morning.
forest to it.
Okay.
Word
So
harsh.
over here, what I'm typing in right now, these are effectively director's notes. This is us communicating with each other. Young elf in treehouse. Because that's basically what I wanted, a young elf in a treehouse. But inside of it, this is actually the prompt that like we're working with over here. And if someone speaks promptees, I'll read it out loud now so you know like what our promptees
Promptees. I haven't heard that. That was great.
Dramatic
like
low. Oh, I spelled it wrong. It's supposed to be dramatic low shot. I have an arrow. Low shot.
Great.
Looking up at Eldari Ranger Elf with red hair and pigtails, pale skin, and white pajamas on the front porch of her family's quaint, rickety treehouse cabin, Warhammer 40,000 character art. So like that's basically what we're feeding into one layer. The next layer is going to be a text to image. It's a flux model, and then image to video. So we have this sort of chain of things that come off of these promptees moments. That's the next action I would do is I would copy this whole thing, move to the next shot, say what happens next, paste the prompt in, right, and decide what happens next, because I would change the prompt around, and then we'd kind of march our way through there. I'd very likely keep Warhammer, the last four words we keep over here that we have that it's character art, that we're inside the Warhammer universe. And I'd probably even keep that she is a ranger elf. Yeah, what might happen right afterwards? It's no longer dramatic low shot. Let's just change that. It will say frontal portrait, because that was whole full body, right? So frontal
of how we get rid of that next part.
Yeah, of her. And maybe does she have an expressive moment? Is she doing something?
I want us to be like curious about what she's seeing, which we can.
But so she's discovered something. So she's looking at it. She finds something on the horizon, looking at smoke on the horizon.
I was more thinking like looking up in the air with a terrified expression.
Okay, yeah, because there's that thing flying overhead, the air. So I'm going to say with concern. And the reason I'm saying with concern is because I have used enough emotions in AI to know that AI tends to go to 11 too quickly. And so if you say with terror, you'll get this face that looks so terrified it's fake. And so I'm trying to indicate a subtle emotion. The risk is it might not pick it up. When we're doing it first, we want to do text to video. And I'm doing a lot of these with Funway. Funway for us means we're using a Flux front end and Runway video model. And we just refer to that as Funway because it's Runway, but a little bit more fun. We'll generate one of those. When that job's going, I usually will do two of them just to see what comes off of it, because we're sort of exploring the first time. I think it's a good prompt, but it's nice to have multiples to see how they vary. The other choice I do sometimes is instead of cranking out a full video model, sometimes I'll do just an image version of it. And that's if I'm just basically credit conscious. So if I'm a little bit more credit conscious, I might decide that I'm actually going to go ahead and generate more images, but not videos. That gives us a sense of variation that we might be able to pluck from. So now we just have two jobs that are going. And then in a competition, we wouldn't win. What was that question?
So if you've generated the 4 images, how do you get from there to a video based on one of those things that you really like?
Every single one of these, it's easier if I go back to an existing shot. So if I go to one of these, so this is you can see the work that I did. This is the very first one that I created looked like this version. It's coming up. I didn't like that. That's not what I was going for. And then another version came out that was too young and cutesy in a different direction. I also didn't like that, but it was better, right? Like my prompt's getting closer. Then sometimes I would say, okay, well, let's try that, but let's animate it differently, right? In this case, there's actually no AI animation in this one, but it's effectively the image. And so if I went back to this asset and I just hit reimagine on it, reimagine queues it up with that image selected, a video to video model. And so now I can take that as the starting point for the first frame that goes to an AI generator.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that first frame can actually go to multiple generators. I could do first frame Luma, first frame Runway, first frame Hyper. These are just different video models that will chain along from that starting point. But that lets me explore in the image space and then apply in the video space. I'm just gonna because we talked about it, I'm just gonna run one of those through there. So I don't.
I'm running the first 3 through right now, just trying some prompts out.
Cool. So this does allow for parallelization, right? Because again, we're not waiting for this to come in. In the meantime, these did come in over here, right? So these are the different versions of this character. She doesn't quite. Some of these she looks up a little bit more. This one actually this is better. That like looking upness. I don't know what's going on with the horns. I don't particularly love that.
I like her expression there. It's very natural.
You do like, yeah, it's not, there's that question of like, how concerned is she when she looks up in the sky? Like, what is that?
Yeah, like she just noticed it.
Right?
Right?
I'll put a select on it right now, but I would, if we had more time in the competition, I'd come back and I'd do a better version of this one where I'd probably, if it's not the best one, actually I do also kind of like, there's something about
yeah, that's nice too.
I sort of like that one too. So I'm going to go to this one, which is one of the other assets that are there. And I'm going to do just what we described. I'm going to reimagine it. And I'm going to run it through a different model. This one's Luma. It's a different video model. And I'll generate an asset that way too. And in this case, there is the potential to substantially change our prompt, especially because the visual description is already anchored. And we can actually shift towards the movement of the character, what happens. The camera movement is actually a key part of the cinematographic experience. And so my strategy for these competitions is describe everything, which is the full directorial thing, and provide that both to the image generator and the video generator, and it kind of works out. And at this point, I think you kind of get a sense of the creative flow, that we have this character, we have the next moment in time, we've visualized her, we've done some bit of a transition, and we've moved a bit forward. And also, hopefully, that there's enough of the context. Oh my gosh, Josh, you've gone wild. Josh has gone ahead and like done stuff for all of it.
Basically, this character's discovering their destiny is the basic plot here. So there's some like magical thing happening, a learning about harnessing skills, emerging psychic abilities happening, but some encroaching darkness. So we're going with some darkness happening, is what I'm thinking for the narrative. But we can switch any of these around. This is just me kind of giving us a starting point. So,
well, can you walk us through what your thoughts are?
I'll go through each one. So a moment of peace at the home. So we have like a moment of peace happening at 3. So there she is looking out her home at 3. But so 2 should probably be inside. Yeah.
So I had a brook, so I'm gonna ditch my comment for a brook in the background because we're actually doing an interior waking up, young elf in treehouse.
Yeah, let's watch.
Like we have a rough draft already, so we're basically asking our AI to look through the assets that we have here that include her waking up. I feel like she's not in a cabin. We should probably prompt that one to be a cabin. Now she's in her cabin. And actually, when we're reviewing it as a string out right now, this is full video asset. It's not auto trimmed, and there's no music. So I'm going to fire off one save in the background just so we have a rough cut that comes through, which includes the audio and will be set to the track. And we'll let that go in the background. Do you have a suggestion for an alternate image that would go over for the dog if we were going to move something else?
Yeah, maybe the other one with the other one with her, with the other animal she's with, or that one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, because if we're not using this one over here, just that something's happening, I feel like I'm just dropping that on top of that one because I feel like just that puppy dog is out of place.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So at least something's happening over there. Okay, so that was our last move.
Oh yeah, dogs weren't domesticated in this fantasy realm. The dragons are.
Okay. One with a cool little dragon flash.
The previous version was our automatic edit in the previous version, but I want to see it not with the horns and with the new version that we did. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure that we save another cut. We're pulling in all of the changes that we just made to the additional additions, making that second version of the save. So we have the auto trim set to the soundtrack. That'll pop on out there.
This is amazing. I mean, this is having a thought partner working with us while we're working together as humans. So I think it's pretty cool. The possibilities are pretty amazing here.
Ken, do Did you have any thoughts about it? What did you think about like kind of the process and also the agent being in the loop?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because I've used like some script writing tools and I was kind of non-AI ones, but it's always kind of interesting because you like try to pick a point in which you needed an additional transition or you need more backstory or whatever. And I feel like that's kind of like the next generation of the agent is to say, or do you get this high level arc and then you ask it, where should I insert an additional frame, and give me a prompt that would make that happen. It'd also be interesting to see if you could get the thing to the point where it would actually insert those prompts, generate them in the background, and then when you just start paging through, you can find all the additional frames that it generated for you and see if they make sense. If we need additional information in between those frames to accomplish something, where would that be? And then give me the prompt
Right.
and what's supposed to happen there. It's like all of the
Yeah.
little connector.
And that's
pieces we
interesting.
want to do before
I could
that.
really pretty easily imagine doing that at two levels. One is make the empty shot for me and give me the text description of it to see if I agree, and then I will approve, yes, we do want to generate that, because effectively there's some higher stakes cost basically to rendering it. Or just go ahead and do the action and I'll evaluate the media that comes out and see whether I agree with it. Where one is a little bit more on the intent side and the downstream one is the result of the media given the intent. Cool. Okay, let's watch it. Let's see what we have.
Yeah, let's.
So first time watching it all together. We all made it. We know what's going to be in it, but we've never seen it one after the other. So here we go. We should mention the extension. Actually, let's describe our extension. Over the next weekend, basically on Monday, we'll reconvene and we'll have one extension of this project, which is we'll say this is what we accomplished within half an hour. But we'll either extend by making what we have better, and the two tracks are make this same exact 30-second track, not changing it, the same, or expand it outwards, and we'll cycle that every week, basically.
Exactly. That sounds good.